What's going on, fishy friends? Lady C is stuck in some traffic tonight. She got stuck behind an accident, so you're stuck with me. Good old, knowledgeable, beautiful, adorable, dashingly handsome, intelligent me. Enough with the self-flattery. We got the Southwest. We've got so many regions now. We got 3 or 4 regions just in Florida. We got the Southwest Florida Inshore Fishing Report with our buddy E with Jupiter Kayak Fishing of Cape Coral. And actually, you know, I'm going to bring him in now because I think you guys got my announcements in the last show. I will say we got guys that I'll announce in just a second. What's going on, E? How are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys doing over there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You look... it looks like your camera's upgraded or something. Everything looks like it's in like high definition fusion or something. Yeah, man.
That could be bad and good for me.
That could be bad and good. Well, ask your wife what she thinks, because do you need more definition or less? But how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I just got out of the water today.
Hot?
It wasn't bad. It actually felt good. It's like right now is that perfect weather. You know, in the morning it's a little chilly, and chilly for us is in like the 60s. And then by the afternoon it's in the 80s. So like this weather right now is perfect. So this is one of the best times of the year right now here, as far as weather-wise.
Yeah, normally I'd be living vicariously through you, but right now it's like, I think we had a high of like 77 here today.
That's good.
Just crazy, man. I'm like, I started saying it a few years ago, and people would look at me funny, but I had a different line of work then. But I would say, like, I love global warming. And people were like, you know, that's such a I was working a nonprofit, and everyone was like, oh my God, that's such a horrible thing to say.
Right.
Now I'm surrounded by fishermen all the time, and they all agree with me. They're like, yeah, man, bring up the pompano. Bring the pompano to Maryland. Let's go. I mean, we got cobia now. We got redfish. We got speckled trout. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
But well, we're going to jump into our 2-minute bite. But our prize for question of the night is these 2 packs of soft plastics from Old School Tackle Company. We got a 3.5-inch rip shiner called Shocking Yardbird, and we got a 3.5-inch fatty called Smoky Shiner. So question of the night, we'll get that. Our boy E chooses the question of the night, and we've already got some comments in here. I don't have a moderator tonight, so I apologize if I screw stuff up. Somebody's laughing. Did I say something funny? I don't know. Oh, maybe they're just laughing at the way my hat sits on my head. Global warming. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But E, how? Give us the 2-minute bite. What's biting? What's the technique, and what's the tackle?
All right. So 2-minute warm. It's sheepshead is the what I've been targeting lately, and the best part of sheepshead is that you get to eat them, and they're really delicious down here. So, and I keep it simple. So I'm usually running my jig head with a paddle tail on there. If I run into some sheepshead, the simplest what I do is I take the paddle tail off. And you need some live shrimp if you're going after sheepshead. You know, I know some people have used some artificial, and you can kind of play around with them, but sheepshead are hard enough to catch with bait. You know, but so then I switch the paddle tail to a live shrimp, and I'll toss it right on the sheepshead. And we were sight casting in the other day. It was about 2-3 days ago. And that we were in the flats, and they were hanging out in potholes where the reds are usually at and where the trout are usually at.
Interesting.
They were schooled up in the flats, and you know, me and one of my neighbors were fishing together that day, and we literally anchored and were sight casting sheepshead, and it was fun. it's a different way that I've targeted them. I'm usually looking at, structure. It's the easiest way to find them. You go to docks, you go to bridges, anywhere you see some oyster beds on the side is the clear signal that there's sheepshead there. But it was a lot more fun catching them out in the flats and sight casting them.
I believe it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they got their name like this. I think it was because of, their teeth, that weird set of teeth they have. But like, they're kind of sheepish usually, aren't they? Aren't they usually kind of hidden from you and not wanting to be in plain sight?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they're usually hiding right against the structure. One of the ways to target them is literally park right next to a bridge and drop it straight down the line of the bridge. You want something heavy enough where it goes straight down, because they're hugging that bridge and eating the oyster beds right off the bridge. And like I said, it was much more fun out in the flats.
Right. And what's your tackle setup and what's your technique?
Well, I'm going to show you, and we're going to add part of the prize tonight. We're adding one of these supply drops. All right, we're partnered up with Rebel Fishing Alliance.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely, and we're gonna we can go over some of the stuff, but I'll show you what I was using that day to catch them. So
this is a pretty sweet prize, guys.
Absolutely.
If you haven't checked them out already, go to rebelfishingalliance.com, right?
I believe it's rfa.org, but I'll look that up as we talk real quick.
Yeah, it's a cool company. The guy that ran it is a Star Wars nut, and so everything on the site is kind of like a conglomeration of Star Wars and fishing.
And he's a veteran Marine, and he offers veterans discounts just like we do in our business too. But let me show you before we get sidetracked. This is the jig head I had on, which I'm usually using.
Trout eye, right?
Yes, sir. So these are just different sizes. This is 1/8. We got a 1/4 ounce, and I think this one's 3/16. But that day I had a 1/4 ounce, and I was using the paddle tail because we were catching snook right before that. And then as we're drifting down, maybe another 150 yards, we ran into a school of sheepshead. That's what's amazing, I think, about the fishing down here. And when you're kayak fishing and you're kind of drifting down these, you can't really do that in a boat unless you really know what you're doing.
Got a question coming in already, and I have a question about the sheepshead, but
Yes,
Rodney asked, do you ever tip a jig with sand fleas for sheepshead?
Absolutely, yes. Unfortunately, they're hard to find over here right now, even at the bait shop or even going to the beaches. A lot of our beaches aren't still open down here. And a lot of them really don't carry, not around our area directly. I can't get them around here. But yeah, the only thing we can sometimes find around are fiddler crabs. But again, none of the bait shops usually carry them around this area. So you have to go out there and find them. And sometimes you run into them, sometimes you don't. Mud crabs, people use mud crabs a lot for them too. But, everything eats shrimp, and I use shrimp and it works. I'm sure there's a lot better techniques, but, I'm trying to fish for a lot of different species when I go out there. Most of the time when I go out, we catch, like today, we caught probably 6 or 7 different species of fish today,
Yeah, I saw those pictures. I didn't have time to upload them into the browser, but there was, you had Spanish mackerel in there. You had sheepshead, redfish, speckled trout. There was a shark.
Yeah.
You were all over the place.
We had a cobia.
A cobia as well. Yeah, there's 6 right there, and we rattled those off really quick.
Yeah, jacks.
What's that?
A couple of jacks.
Mm-hmm.
Jack crevalles.
I want to catch a big one of those next time I'm down there with you guys.
We got to do that in the canals.
Skyblazer RC, real quick, Skyblazer. For the trivia question that you answered in the last show, let me know whether you want these, the gray and black ones, or the yellow and pink ones. So Skyblazer asks, are the sheepshead around all year in Southwest Florida? My parents are down there, so I visit frequently. Man, if my parents were down there, I think I think I'd live in my mom's basement, dude. I swear. I'd live in my mom's basement and play World of Warcraft on rainy days.
Yeah, you can kind of I see them year round, but not in the schools like they are when it's cold right now, and they're aggressive right now. When I was casting into those schools, I could see them. It was a school of about 8 when we first found them, and as soon as I would drop the bait, I saw all of them attacking it. They were fighting for that bait. Usually they're not like that. You know what I mean? So, but they were
Man,
just fired up when we ran into them, and usually colder water for us, anywhere below 65, I think is really where but they're usually fired up. As long as the weather's cold outside, they're usually eating as well.
and then what happens? So during the warmer months, they kind of do they
Yeah,
migrate or
they're still kind of in the bridges, but they go outside too. Yeah, they leave, but you can still find some. I know that the guys that go out deep, we stay inshore. They still catch them outside in deeper holes. Once they go into the Gulf a little bit and some of the reefs that are out here.
okay, Skyblazer, don't forget to send me your address to admin@thefishingchannel.net. That's admin@thefishingchannel.net, and I'll get those the smoke and shiners sent out to you. So my question on Sheepshead, I can't remember, but I think you do some cooking, don't you?
Oh, well, I do a little bit of cooking, but the wife does most of the cooking.
Okay, so how does she prepare her Sheepshead?
Well, if you just look at our YouTube video, I just did a sheepshead catch and cook video, and we show all the ingredients that we used to season our sheepshead. We show all the ingredients we use to season our trout, and we use some stuff that comes from Hawaii. We use some local stuff here too, and then we use some everyday stuff that you can find in the supermarket as well too. But the video will explain everything. I can't go into too much detail because I'll be honest, I'm not the chef. I catch, I clean it, and I give it to the chef as a fillet, and then she takes over.
Yeah, Captain Cole says, I wish water was 65 for us. Yeah, we don't want to really hear too much about complaining about 65-degree water.
What is it over there right now?
Oh, man, Cole, what do you think? 40, 43, 44?
Okay.
And 43, 44 for us, like this time of year, that's super warm.
Really?
Usually it's 38. Usually it's 38 and the bite is just completely shut down. We've had the bay get, frozen like 300-400 yards out, and it's salty. Yeah, Cole says it's 42 to 44 depending on where you are right now, but the bite has still been pretty good for us. So you mentioned your YouTube channel. Let's talk about that for a second, guys, because if you're a snow bunny or whatever it's called, snowbird, and you want to live vicariously through E here, he's got some great content that he's putting up. I mean, not every day, but probably once a week, right?
We try to do it at least once a week. I try to do it more, but once a week is always the goal for the channel right now.
So what's the name of the channel and where do people find it?
You can go through our Facebook is really the best way to find everything that we have. The Cape Corals, Jupiter Kayak Fishing. And we have the links to our website. We have links to our Instagram. We have links to everything that you need. Our YouTube channel. Same thing, Cape Coral, Jupiter Kayak Fishing. If you Google that, if you Google Matt Lachey Kayak Fishing, we should come up within one of the first 10 videos. It seems to be working that way right now.
And guys, the East area got hit really hard with the storm. But I mean, even without all the human stuff that was damaged, I mean, that is a beautiful, beautiful part of the earth. That island, Matt Lachey, Cape Coral, Pine Island. I mean, it's just, if you haven't been, go. And when you go, give E a call and book a trip with Jupiter Kayak Fishing of Cape Coral. E, tell them what they can expect on a trip with you and kind of the way you do things.
I've once again I approach everything like I did 20 years in the military and aviation. Safety's first, so we cover all the safety stuff that we're going to go through on the kayak. Make sure that we leave alive and come back alive. That's the first thing we'll cover, and then then we start talking about how what some of the techniques that we'll go over. I kind of start judging how my day's going to go or what we're going to do based on the person's ability that day. So I'm adjusting every day to everyone's ability. I've had people that have never fished before. I have had people that have never fished before and never fished before in a kayak, and I've had people like today where he bought his own kayak now, and he's comfortable fishing with me. He's fished with me a couple times, and at this point we're just learning more techniques. Today, which is part of our prize, we were using this guy and he had never used these, and we killed it with these, the voodoo shrimp again.
Oh my, that's part of the prize?
This is part of the prize today. Because the goal for this package deal is we're going to adjust this every month or every quarterly to what I'm using and what's actually working. And we have stuff that we always have in here, but right now I started using these, and these are destroying fish.
Guys, those voodoo shrimp are like at least $10 for two of them right there. They're expensive, and it's because they're so effective. I mean, those things, from everyone that I talk to, are just vicious. And I'm probably going to start using them actually, because shrimp are showing up more and more every year in the bay. I was at a place only 30 miles south of me, at night 2 years ago, and there were white shrimp everywhere. So I'm going to start throwing some voodoo shrimp here in my next couple of years. But so the prize is pretty epic, guys. You get 2 packs of Old School, and you get a Rebel Fishing Alliance. What is it called?
It's a Rebel Fishing Alliance and Jupiter Kayak Fishing care package. This guy's going to be in there too. So
nice top water, a little Zara Spook. Yep.
Yes, sir. We got this guy, which I always use this. So weedless golden spoon.
That's your redfish killer right there, isn't it?
It is. And then we got all the different paddle tails that I'm using right now.
Nice, guys. You still have we'll do questions for 4 more minutes. So any questions that come through from now for the next 4 minutes, I'm going to interrupt what I'm saying and get your question. Those are great.
Got some hooks.
You hooked the shrimp on that, right?
Yes, sir. And then, I love using the popping cork.
Yep.
And then that's the popping cork. And like I said, we're going to top it off with the voodoo shrimp, and we're going to send this off to whoever wins tonight.
All right, guys, you got 4 minutes to get those questions in. In terms of other things going on, and we got Sheepshead where you are. I'm guessing trout are probably still thick as thieves, right?
Yeah, but today was funny. We didn't really get into the trout today like every other day. Today we got into some snook, but it was because we were pushed more into the back country. It was really low tide today, and we got off early, beat the tide to get to a hole that you usually can't get to because it's just too low. And then we sat at that hole for almost an hour and a half catching mangrove snapper, snook. We were hoping we would get some reds, but they never came around. But I mean,
those mangroves, that's another good eating fish right there.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite fish to eat down here. It's in the top. It might be my favorite.
We've got a couple questions coming in. One from Robert Figliozzi. He says, do the fish in your area have any parasites that you have to be concerned about if planning to eat them?
No, there have been some reports of people, but I've been eating the fish for like a month now.
That explains a lot. So don't eat the fish.
Yeah. I've had clients, keep fish. I have family members. I've been sharing fish, and I've been eating fish, and we've had no issues. If the fish doesn't look healthy, if he looks like he has a lot of parasites, or if I cut and I fillet and I see worms or anything, I pay attention to all that kind of stuff, and I'm just not seeing any of that.
Yeah, as far as I know, Robert, I mean, down where he is, the water is a lot saltier than it is on the Chesapeake Bay. And I think that takes care of a lot of the parasites. They really can't live in an environment quite that salty. That doesn't mean that they can't be there, because they have their own sorts of parasites. I mean, a lamprey, for instance, is a parasite. But yeah, I mean, but they're less so. Okay, Rodney has got a question. He says, "What is your favorite bait for trout?"
I guess artificial. I'm always again with a good paddle tail, because I like that I can use it, as a shrimp, or I can move it like a mullet. There's different ways that I can use a paddle tail. So paddle tail is the answer to that. And if it's live or cut or something like that, shrimp, live. I'm a big shrimp guy, because again, everything eats shrimp.
From Troy Barrick, I guess he lives in North Carolina. Troy, I haven't seen you on the show before, so welcome. Thanks for tuning in. He says, "I use the voodoo shrimp with chartreuse tails on the Neuse River in North Carolina. Love that fishery, bro. Purple and natural seem to be best. What is your favorite color overall, and what size popping cork with the shrimp do you recommend?"
Okay, good question. So this is the color that we get. I like the natural's the best one, in my opinion. But there's like three of them that look like natural anyway. There's like one called Tiger, but again, any of the ones that look natural, I've never used any of the ones that have chartreuse ends or anything. I know people that do, and they're effective with it. Again, it's once you build confidence in that lure, you have confidence in that lure. But I always use the natural colors if they have it. If they don't, I try to match the closest natural that they have. And then for popping cork, since this is a little heavier, this is a 1/4 ounce each one. You can go with the smaller popping cork, and it depends on how much distance you need to get. If you need to get a little more distance, you get a bigger popping cork. If you have to get a little more distance, but if you can, this will cast with this hooked up to it. It'll probably cast 15 yards with a good rod and reel, which is plenty of space there. You don't need to get any further than that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We have one more question. And Troy, you live in Maryland. Yeah, that Neuse River is only like 5 hours away from us that live in Maryland, depending on what part of Maryland you live in. We lost E for a second, but I'm guessing he just had a phone call come in. So we'll go ahead and at least read the next question. David D-Train asked, "What is the best reel, line, and bait to use for a beginner fishing for sheepshead?" Oh, he's using a GoPro for the webcam. That's cool. It's cool unless we lose them, which, then it's all of a sudden not that cool. And David, unfortunately, sheephead are not my forte, so I'm not even going to begin to answer that question. Let's see if we can get E back to answer that question. I saw something happen. Can you hear us, E?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't see you. So
okay, all right. Well, I mean, I'm trying to reset this camera. What is the best reel, line?
Yeah, we can finish without video. E, we're almost done.
Okay, that's a good question. So, if you're in some clear water, the lightest I would go for sheepshead is like 15 pound. But if you're targeting them by the bridges, there's oyster beds and there's other stuff. So if you start getting cut off a lot, you might want to start bumping up a little bit. I'm usually using 25 fluoro or 30.
And he asked, "What's the best reel? Do you have a reel preference for that?"
I like my Shimano Stratic. You know, that's my favorite reel. That's the one I'm trying to use most of the day. I do have Penn Battle 3s, and I have some Penn Spin Fishers, which I also use. But, you know, if you ask me which one I have in my hand the most, it's the Shimano Stratic.
Yeah.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah. Yeah. On some Stratics myself. It's a great reel, nice and lightweight. I like the pen. I like the pens a little bit more, even though I know I can feel it. They're heavier. They're a tank. So you know, a day of jigging, I'm going to prefer the Shimano, but because you know, working that jig the entire day with a heavy reel does add up. But you don't have to worry about fixing your camera because we are at the end of the show. But do you have a question of the night that you can remember so we can give this prize away?
I like that question from the Voodoo with the chartreuse.
Yeah.
And
so we got Troy Barrett with question of the night. And Troy, I hope you saw the Rebel Fishing Alliance pack. But Troy, email me at admin@thefishingchannel.net, and I will get you in touch with Eloy at Jupiter Kayak Fishing of Cape Coral, and we'll get you that, and we'll get you the 2 packs of old school Tackle Company soft plastics. I feel like we're about to get E back because it keeps blinking, but E, that's what happens when you use GoPro for something, man. I guess there went my GoPro sponsorship if I ever.
There you go. No kidding, right?
Bye.
I was trying. It worked for a while. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, that's why it looked pretty good when it was working. Yeah, Troy, okay. Send me an email at admin@thefishingchannel.net, and we'll get this pretty sizable prize pack for a regional fishing report. We usually keep the regional fishing report prizes pretty small, but that's a pretty good haul for you. Anyways, thanks so much for watching tonight, guys. We really appreciate all the questions, all the support on a night where everything seemed like it was going wrong, and we made it work. People were getting stuck in traffic. Guests forgot about the show, I guess, and we had a great time anyways. So David May, how you doing, buddy? And we're gonna sign off. E, thanks so much, bro. I hope your video issues get resolved. But
I'll have it fixed by next time.
By next time, you got a whole month.
Right.
But thanks so much to you, buddy, and you know, I hope everything is going great down there. Until next time, guys, we will see you, and thanks so much for watching.
Aloha. Thank you, everyone.